Good morning, this is Shelby Law with the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Saturday, July 3rd, 2021. The fire potential impacts for the next couple of days are shown here. For today into tomorrow, the main impact is this area of mixed wet dry thunderstorms that's going to be moving through across mainly northern Nevada up into southern Idaho and clipping northern Utah with a little weak disturbance moving through. The main impact here are some generally dry, fast-moving thunderstorms moving into far western Nevada in the overnight hours tonight as that little shortwave feature moves through. We do also have some isolated dry, wetter type thunderstorms over the higher elevations of Utah today into tomorrow, and then decreasing by Monday. The precipitation and lightning from yesterday is shown here. Quite a bit of activity over northern Nevada and up into central and eastern Idaho, and then over the northeast portion of Utah. Initial attack has definitely picked up with this lightning activity, mainly over Nevada and up into Idaho. Quite a few new fire starts. Most of these fires are remaining on the smaller side, but we do have a couple that are larger. One here in western Nevada that's over 200 acres. Precipitation for the past 14 days is shown here. Again, we're looking at that. the main story here is the bulk of moisture that moved into Utah over the past couple of weeks, putting some areas even into above normal precipitation for the time of year, and we have seen that impact in our fire activity and our fire danger. Also, southern Nevada did see quite a bit of precipitation there as well. Further north over Idaho, northern Nevada, even western Wyoming have still been quite dry over the past couple of weeks. This precipitation has caused fire danger indices to decrease over where we were a few weeks ago, especially in Utah. Most of those values are now between the 50th to the 80th percentile, with some areas even lower, below the 50th percentile. In Idaho, those values are coming up as conditions have been very hot and generally on the dry side until just recently with a little bit of precip up there. Closer look at some of these areas along the Sierra front here. Those values are still above normal for the time of year, but have evened out or leveled out just a little bit with some increased moisture there. And then west central Utah as well. We were trending very high all through the month of May and June, and then have seen a sharp decrease with some of this monsoonal moisture having recently moved up. But we are going to be moving into a drier period, so I do expect those values to increase once again. This morning's satellite imagery shows high pressure system generally over the Four Corners area, keeping temperatures very warm across much of the Great Basin. Still very warm over northern Idaho as well, and that heat's going to remain in place through the week. There's a little bit of moisture over northern Nevada. That's going to continue to produce some thunderstorms today into tomorrow, and then we'll begin to dry out at the first part of next week. And so for today, we're expecting to see some thunderstorm activity over northern Nevada and up into southern Idaho as a little bit of moisture remains in place there. And then, of course, some isolated thunderstorms are possible over the higher elevations of Utah as well. So taking a closer look at that precip forecast, best chance over northern Nevada, southwest Idaho, and the higher elevations of northern Utah up into western Wyoming for the day today on Saturday. Very high temperatures remain, especially over western Idaho, with highs in the low 100s. That's the hot spot, and then of course further south as well. So Saturday night into Sunday, that little shortwave moves over northern Nevada and up into Idaho for an increasing coverage of thunderstorm activity. As these storms start out in far western Nevada, they're going to be fast moving and on the dry side, so we do have high risk issued for far western Nevada, and this is overnight Saturday into Sunday morning. So taking a look at the precipitation forecast for Saturday or for Sunday, quite a bit of an increase in thunderstorm activity from today Saturday as that shortwave moves through. These storms will be a mix of wet and dry, and primarily over the northern half of Nevada up into eastern Idaho and western Wyoming. The higher elevations of Utah could see some isolated thunderstorms as well. And remaining very hot over the Great Basin, Salt Lake will be in the low 100s tomorrow as well. On Monday, the high pressure remains in place over the Great Basin for continued hot temperatures, and we will see decreasing chances for thunderstorms, especially over the west and north, but may see some lingering thunderstorms over Utah into Monday. Minimum relative humidities are shown here, starting a downward trend back into the low teens, especially over Idaho and Nevada. Values will be a little bit higher over the higher elevations of Utah, where there still is a little bit of a chance for some thunderstorms there and up into western Wyoming as well. The 3-day precipitation total is shown here, looking for that precipitation mainly coming in tonight into throughout tomorrow over northern Nevada and up into eastern Idaho and western Wyoming, and then of course some lingering moisture over the higher elevations of Utah today through mostly through Sunday and maybe a little bit on Monday. Precip total amounts aren't particularly impressive, especially after some of the heavier storms we've had last week. Best chance for the heavier precip is over western Wyoming. And as we move into the work week next week, that high pressure centers itself over the Great Basin for continued hot and generally drier conditions. So we will start to see those relative humidities really decreasing, possibly back into the single digits over much of the Great Basin. So warming and drying region-wide. We can see many of our dryness levels returning to that brown category. And that will continue into Wednesday. On Wednesday and into Thursday, we'll see some winds increasing across the north. So we do have high risk out for central and eastern Idaho on Wednesday. And then on Thursday, eastern Idaho, western Wyoming, and the higher elevations of northern Utah, as we see some increased winds riding up over the top of that ridge. Ridge still remaining in place, keeping things very warm and dry. We're not really seeing any significant monsoonal moisture during this time period. So we're going to see our fire danger increasing from that drying of the fuels perspective. And then more of the same into Friday. No high risk. The 7-day precip totals highlighting just what we're expecting in the short term. After the next couple of days and early next week, we return to that dry pattern. The extended forecast for July 10th through the 16th puts that bullseye of heat over Idaho and Nevada. Very warm temperatures, very, very hot pattern we're moving into for the middle of the month. And that's going to keep our precipitation below normal as well. And we're not looking for any above normal chances of precipitation moving into the Great Basin during that middle of July. So hopefully we will see a return of that monsoon moisture, but it looks like for now we're going to be hanging out in kind of a drier pattern. This concludes today's fire potential briefing. Please check back tomorrow for the latest updates.